No, I'm not going to talk about the earthquake. I did not have any time between the time that it happened and now to write a new sermon, and I didn't want the earthquake to eclipse what I'm going to talk about. So, with all of the excitement about something special happening on Monday, I was reminded of my childhood fascination with astronomy. My father's home office was in the sunroom of our house, equipped with a powerful telescope and loads of fascinating books on stars, planets, and constellations. There was a particular excerpt in one of my father's astronomy books that really stuck with me, mainly because of how freaked out I became upon reading it. It was a future time lapse of the sun, showing how over the course of the next 5 billion years, our star would enter its red giant phase. Sounds friendly, right? It isn't. The red giant phase is when the sun expands up to 1,000 times in size, completely engulfing Mercury, Venus, and yes, even our planet. Now, I knew that 5 billion years from then was a very, very long time, and that I wouldn't be around to experience the horror of our planet and solar system's demise. But I was nonetheless dismayed at the thought that humanity's brilliant and beautiful home was ultimately doomed. Now, we know that this is how people in ancient times felt when they witnessed a solar eclipse. In fact, many of our rabbis of old wrote about the phenomenon as a bearer of bad omens, particularly for us Jews. This happened even as long ago as the times of the prophet Amos, when he writes about an eclipse he witnessed as being punishment to the Jews for not helping the needy and the poor. Fast forward to today, when a solar eclipse comes by, we hear about it for weeks in advance, with plenty of time to go to the grocery store and stock up on guacamole and chips to enjoy the show. And we're not worried anymore about a hidden, sinister meaning behind this amazing sight. But that doesn't mean we aren't worried about our future as Jews. On the contrary, it feels that there are more reasons to be concerned than ever before. We fear for the future of the state of Israel, with a war raging on its borders to the political unrest within. We are increasingly concerned with the rising trend of anti-Semitism here at home and worldwide. And we're worried that Jewish affiliation and self-identity is consistently dropping year after year. So with all of this, where do we turn to for hope? Maybe the answer is in the awe-inspiring eclipse itself. Scholars and scientists have hypothesized that the earliest written account of a solar eclipse is recorded in none other than the book of Joshua. By calculating the paths of past solar eclipses in the region, scientists have been able to pinpoint an exact date for this eclipse in the book of Joshua, October 30th, 1207 BCE. That's nearly 3,231 years ago. The famous event occurs during a battle between 5 armies raging against the people of Gibeon. Joshua vows to protect the Gibeonites and sings a prayer to God, asking for the sun and the moon to stay still in the sky. Well, God listens. And the celestial event proves pivotal in Joshua's campaign, and he's ultimately victorious. But the lesson here is that Joshua's success isn't due to miracles or last-minute help from God. God tells Joshua multiple times at the start of the book to remain strong and courageous. Chazak ve'ematz. Indeed, these are also among Moses' final words to Joshua, because what he was about to do, fulfill his destiny to make a home for the Jewish people, would require lots of both. it is Joshua's courage at that moment that enabled him to see God in the eclipse, not his demise. God doesn't command Joshua to be strong so many times because God is worried he might not make it. Rather, it is because this is Joshua's identity and destiny, one of perseverance and fortitude. As Jews, perhaps our greatest hope is that what we cherish in our lifetime will be honored and replicated by the next generation and the generations following, and that it will be further enriched, developed, and built upon. We reject the notion that there is an end to our existence and tradition. No matter how bad things seem to get, and no matter what the prediction, we must defiantly say, Chazak ve'ematz, be strong and courageous, because that's the only way forward. For those of us who are fortunate enough to be in the path of the solar eclipse on Monday, maybe we'll look up, with protective eyewear, of course, and not only marvel at something that can be explained by science, but also remember that God still shows us that when things seem to turn dark all around, the only way forward is by holding closer to the teachings, words, and faith that has brought us this far.